three-time Grammy winner, was an American icon, a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with a unique style and poignant lyrics. His 40-year career filled with countless hits that will resonate for generations to come. Music. The night of Tom Petty's death sparked one of the biggest dramas in rock history. Behind the scenes, details of his health were suddenly revealed and the harsh choices he was forced to make were revealed. Just days after the end of his 40th anniversary tour, Petty's body collapsed. The news spread quickly, sparking endless debate about the real reason behind it. On October 7, 2017, Tom Petty was rushed to UCLA Santa Monica in cardiac arrest. Doctors attempted to revive him for hours, but his condition was irreversible. By the end of the day, news of Tom Petty's death had spread around the world. The cause of death was reported to be an overdose of several painkillers and sedatives, a routine combination of drugs that Petty had taken in his final stages. These drugs were prescribed to help Petty perform on stage, but a fractured hip and other medical conditions. The incident that night was notable for its obvious coincidence just a week after the end of his 40th anniversary tour. Head's body had completely collapsed. This was no longer a story about an artist taking time off to recover, but a testament to his radical choice. Those close to him had repeatedly advised Petty to stop, but he was determined to continue. Mike Campbell, a close friend and longtime collaborator, admitted Tom made it clear that stopping the show would be a betrayal of his fans. He would never accept it. This statement became evidence of stubbornness to the point of sacrificing his health. The final hours in the hospital also showed the harsh reality. The doctor declared that the amount of drugs in his body had exceeded his tolerance and all attempts at resuscitation had failed. The family was informed that all support measures were useless. When the decision was made to end life support machines, that was when the legend officially ended. What shocked audiences was the contrast between his public image and his private reality. On stage, Petty still displayed his powerful voice, decisive melodies, and familiar energy. Few expected that just a few days later, he would face an abrupt end. His longtime bandmates knew the truth better than anyone. Benmore Tench, a close friend and longtime bandmate, shared, "I saw him go on stage with strength, but return backstage with pain." That fateful night did not come out of nowhere. It was foretold long ago. In subsequent news reports, many witnesses and colleagues agreed that Petty's final night was no accident. It was the direct result of his determination to continue a tour when his body was in danger. Petty's family released a powerful message. He died because he loved music, because he didn't stop. But it is also a warning about the price of ignoring your health. These words turned the death into a story that transcended personal tragedy into a wake-up call. The truth of that fateful night is still recalled in every discussion of Tom Petty's career. It is no longer just a medical event, but the final mark on the journey of a great artist. From the hospital in Santa Monica, the story spread around the world. A legend was gone, and the real reason lay in his own choices. From here to see why an artist dares to go to such extremes, we need to look back at the whole process from childhood. His chance with music to the journey of building a legendary career. From Gainesville to legend. Tom Petty was born and raised in Gainesville, Florida, in a working-class family. He had a rough childhood and a strained relationship with his father. Music was his outlet for finding peace. As a teenager, Petty saw Elvis Presley on a movie set near his home. That moment became a turning point, inspiring him to pursue a career in singing and songwriting. In the early years, Petty formed the band Mudcrutch with a group of friends from his hometown. They played in small bars with the dream of recording and releasing music. Nonetheless, Mudcrutch quickly failed when their first record did not meet expectations. The group's demise paved the way for an important meeting when some of the key members later became the core of the Heartbreakers. It was here that a long-lasting friendship, but also hidden conflicts were formed. Some people say that Petty always kept tight control of the songwriting, making the other members feel inferior. The dispute over song copyright was a topic of tension in the early stages of the group's formation. The turning point came when Petty decided to pursue his career seriously in Los Angeles. The early days in the city were difficult, but the band's demo caught the eye of several producers. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' first album initially failed to make much of a splash in the US, but was surprisingly well received in the UK. The success from the overseas market brought Petty's name back to his homeland, opening up opportunities for the band to rise. Petty's career began to accelerate from there. He quickly made his mark with his distinctive voice and ability to write simple but powerful songs. The songs soon became hits, helping the band gain a solid footing. Nonetheless, this also came with challenges in musical direction. Some members of the band wanted to change their style to keep up with new trends, while Petty was determined to maintain his identity. This opposition caused internal tension within the Heartbreakers on many occasions. Petty's persistence nonetheless proved valuable. He built an image that did not follow trends, but was loyal to a simple but powerful rock style that created lasting appeal. Even during a period of dramatic changes in the American music market, Petty maintained his own position. Radio hits from classic rock to ballads were closely associated with his name. The formation and development of the Heartbreakers is not only a success story but also a series of challenges. With each change in the lineup, Petty faced questions about the group's sustainability. Some members left, some new ones joined, but the central factor was Petty. This persistence solidified his position as the absolute leader. Nonetheless, it also raised the opinion that Petty was too demanding, always placing himself in a higher position than his colleagues. His early career showed a clear characteristic. Every failure became a motivation to rise. From a difficult childhood to the collapse of Mudcrutch to unexpected success in England, all contributed to building the image of a resilient artist. The chance to meet his colleagues, especially those who would later spend their lives together in the Heartbreakers, became the foundation on which Petty gradually built his legend. Those years also saw the first steps in a 4-decade journey. Audiences began to realize that Petty's music was a direct reflection of him, simple, uncompromising, full of energy. Success at this stage opened the door to bigger battles in his career, where Petty would face pressure from the music industry and even more intense internal challenges. Looking back at the Gainesville starting point, it is possible to see the formation of a special figure in the history of American rock. This journey was the foundation for Tom Petty to enter the glorious but also conflicted years of his career that followed. Glory and battles. As the 1970s and 1980s progressed, Tom Petty began to face greater challenges as his popularity came with pressure from the music industry. By this time, he had become a familiar face on the radio with a series of hits. Nonetheless, commercial success quickly led to fierce conflicts between the artist and the record label. One of the most important events was the dispute with MCA Records. When the company decided to release his new album at a higher price than usual, Petty strongly objected. He claimed that music should be accessible to a wide audience and that raising the price of the album would push away his loyal audience. The conflict escalated to the point that Petty filed for fake bankruptcy to regain control. This was a bold move that attracted media attention and also made him one of the few artists who dared to openly oppose a major label. As a result, Petty stood his ground, forcing the company to adjust its strategy. The incident established him as not only a musician but also a voice for artists' rights in an era when the music industry was heavily dominated by business. Not only was there tension with the record label, the Heartbreakers also experienced many conflicts within the band. Petty was always seen as the absolute leader, controlling most of the composition and musical direction. Some members supported this rigidity, but others argued that it created distance. Disagreements about how to share benefits, a tight tour schedule, and musical direction put the Heartbreakers on the verge of breaking up many times. A colleague once shared that Petty tended to take all the responsibilities and decisions, leaving very little room for creativity for others. This comment partly reflected the rigid but controversial leadership style, but the setbacks Petty still produced some strong albums. Damn the Torpedoes was a huge hit with several songs considered timeless. Commercial and artistic success combined to keep him grounded in the changing tides of the music industry. Subsequent songs, including Refugee, showcased his indomitable spirit and uncompromising stance, and many viewed Petty as an artist who spoke for himself both in music and in business. In the 1990s, Petty continued to solidify his name by collaborating with major artists. Joining the Traveling Wilburys with Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Roy Orbison, and Jeff Lynne was a testament to the recognition of his fellow artists. The project not only produced impressive music, but also showed that Petty was considered an equal to other legends. Nonetheless, at the same time, he maintained the Heartbreakers as a mainstay, a testament to his loyalty and long-term commitment to the band he had been with since the beginning. During this time, Petty also faced the pressure of ever-increasing expectations. Every new album was compared to his previous successes. This sometimes led to creative block. But instead of accepting compromises, Petty chose to change producers, experiment with styles, or write music with a more personal perspective. One of his most memorable successes was the album Full Moon Fever, considered his most important solo mark. This album kept the familiar rock sound while showing a more personal side. In addition to his musical output, Petty's work style during this period continued to be controversial. He was described as a perfectionist, paying close attention to every detail in the studio. Some studio technicians reported that Petty would require dozens of takes to achieve the desired quality. For the band, this was both a testament to their dedication and a source of fatigue. The heavy workload and tight schedule left many members feeling exhausted. In terms of professional relationships, Petty was highly regarded by his contemporaries. His collaborations with Dylan and Harrison showed that he had the ability to reconcile many strong personalities. Nonetheless, in the eyes of his immediate team, Petty still had the final say. This created a contradictory image, an artist who was approachable on stage but extremely tough at work. A string of years of mixed success and conflict have shaped Tom Petty as a defining figure in American rock. He left behind not only a legacy of smash hits, but also a story of a man willing to fight both his label and his own band to defend his point of view. It was these battles that made his career an example for many young artists. From here, Petty's life entered a new phase where, in addition to the stage, glory, private life, and personal ups and downs began to take up more space in the journey. After great success on stage, Tom Petty faced deep personal struggles. His first marriage to Jane Bino ended in conflict, worsened by career pressures that led him to drug addiction in the late 1990s. He later overcame it, finding stability with his second wife, Dana York, though family tensions persisted, especially between Dana and his daughters Audria and Anna Kim. Health problems also plagued him, but Petty kept a heavy workload, using music as his lifeline. Despite struggles, he was remembered as a loving father, loyal friend, and a simple man whose personal journey shaped his music. Many of his songs reflected heartbreak, addiction, and redemption, resonating deeply with audiences. In his final years, he found some peace with Dana and his music, though health and family conflicts remained. His 40th anniversary tour with the Heartbreakers became a milestone but also pushed his failing body to exhaustion. Days after the tour ended, he died, turning triumph into farewell. After his death, legal disputes over his estate arose but were settled with the creation of Tom Petty Legacy LLC. Posthumous releases like Wildflowers and All the Rest, 2020, and Live at the Fillmore, 2022, further cemented his artistry. Petty's legacy goes beyond music. He fought record labels, stood by his principles, and inspired future artists. His timeless songs like American Girl, Free Falling, and I Won't Back Down continue to connect generations. Tom Petty's journey ended in both glory and tragedy, but his influence endures. His life of strength, perseverance, and sacrifice reminds us that music is not just sound, it is a force that shapes lives.